go. April, we good? Welcome, everyone, including members of the press who, thank you, Fred. Let me start over. Welcome, everyone, including members of the press who are here with us via live stream. They'll have the ability to ask some questions in a little bit. We're here today to announce the launch of the Massachusetts Founders Network. We call it MFN, a little easier to say. This is a hybrid, digital, and human platform to help startups in Massachusetts advance more quickly. Time and money are startup founders' most precious resources, and our hope is that MFN will save them time and help them access funding. We believe at Lever that startup founders are among the most important drivers of the Massachusetts economy. Their innovations make our state competitive, and their companies create terrific jobs here. That's why we're so passionate about supporting them. MFN will serve founders throughout the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It's the first publicly available platform of its kind in Massachusetts, and we believe in the country. It's a platform for inclusion. It'll support startup founders at any stage, with or without any startup experience, and irrespective of their backgrounds. And it will be available to those startup founders at no cost. MFN will be a community building tool. It'll bring together startup founders, help connect them with experts, investors, and technical support. And we're particularly excited that it's going to help startup founders connect and access the resources at the superb system of incubators and accelerators and collaborative workspaces at centers of excellence that already exist here in Massachusetts. We really hope to open that up to everyone. And I'm proud to say that many of those groups are here with us today, with the leaders representing them. And they're going to help us in a minute. Cut the ribbon. I finally want to say that MFN is supported by our state's quasi-governmental entities, including MassTech Collaborative, the lead funder for the Massachusetts Founders Network, with sponsorships from the Massachusetts Clean Energy Center and from the Massachusetts Life Sciences Center. And we're eager to launch a project with Mass Ventures. These are the groups for the state that are really injecting energy and capital and resources into the innovation ecosystem, and we're delighted to be able to work with them. We're also delighted to have support from the state's Executive Office of Economic Development, and I'd like to introduce Secretary Yvonne Howe.
Thank you so much. This is such an honor to be here today. First, I want to thank Jeffrey and Lever for all of this incredible work and for really coming up with this idea for the Massachusetts Founders Network. I remember being on a Zoom with Jeffrey many years ago when he was thinking about this idea, and I just thought, this is so obvious and brilliant. That was well before I knew I was going to be in this role, and it's amazing to see it come to life. And also huge thanks to Senator Mark and Rep. Barrett, Mayor Maxey. We are so lucky in our state to be able to partner across all of the different branches of our legislature, as well as with all of our towns and cities. And also huge thanks to our quasis. So from MassTech, Pat Larkin and Megan is here, as well as all of the other quasis that work so closely with us. So this is really a personal, just such a personal and exciting thing to be here today for this specific reason, the Mass Founders Network. I have been in a startup, so I was the CFO and COO of PillPack, which when I joined was really small and struggling. No one ever heard of this kind of idea of e-commerce pharmacy, and can we really scale this and succeed? And we we really struggled a lot. Actually, there was a lot of ups and downs, and I know firsthand how perilous it is to be on that roller coaster ride. And amazingly, we were able to pull it off by, figuring out, talking to previous founders, talking to lots of venture folks, getting lots of advice, and we had an amazing outcome selling to Amazon. So, but I know firsthand how incredibly successful these startups can be in creating jobs and economic development, and also how hard it is. The other thing that's really personal for me is that I love Western Massachusetts. I love all parts of our state, but in particular, I went to school here. This was my first entry into our state, was coming to Williams College, and I have a place out here now, and this is my happy place. I love spending time here. And from being out here, I know how much talent we have here, and how many interesting, exciting, creative things are happening. And as we think about our state's economic development, how do we leverage that and really accelerate and amplify that? So personally, I'm just thrilled to be here for this Massachusetts Founders Network. So in our Healy Driscoll administration, we are very focused on economic development. This is right now the once every 4 years moment where we do a formal economic development plan. And as we do that plan, we think a lot about how can we make sure we are the best place for every one of our citizens to start their careers, grow their careers, live their best lives, have their families, and how do we make sure this is the best place for every company, every startup, every small entrepreneur, every large company to start their businesses here, scale their businesses, and be successful. So that's really the focus of the plan, and throughout all of that, we think about the three big pillars of equity, affordability, and competitiveness. And we think about that across all of our regions and of all of the incredibly diverse talent we have. And so we are really excited about this Mass Founders Network. It's going to get right at the heart of this. In our state, we have such an innovation engine. That's what's really propelled us. We're the #1 receiver of NIH grants, one of the top receivers of venture funding. We have so much technology coming out of all of our schools around AI and quantum and software and fintech. So this Massachusetts Founders Network, I think, will help us strengthen and even lengthen our lead there, and also connect folks across the state to all of our regions. So thank you all so much, and super excited to see the impact and all the startups and all of the great things that are going to come from this program. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Secretary Howe. Next, I'd like to introduce the Deputy Director of the Massachusetts Technology Collaborative, Mr. Pat Larkin.
Thank you, Jeffrey. I'd like to begin by really thanking Secretary Howe for the leadership and the commitment that she's made as our Chief Executive of Economic Development in Massachusetts. I've had the privilege of supporting a number of secretaries over the years, and Secretary Howe represents the first secretary who really has entrepreneurship. She's credentialed in entrepreneurship in a way in which none others have. She understands very intuitively what the needs of the entrepreneurs are, and she's committed to putting the infrastructure in place to help them be successful in their enterprises. So, Secretary Howe, I'd really like to thank you for your leadership. And of course, Jeffrey, both you and the friends at Lever, what can I say? You really are quite a leader in support of entrepreneurs in the state. We've been working with Lever on a number of impactful projects going back to 2018, and we're grateful for what you represent and what you bring not only to North Adams but now to the Commonwealth. The Mass Tech Collaborative, through the work of the Innovation Institute, is really quite pleased and honored to be supporting this priority of the Healy Driscoll administration. For those of you that don't know, Secretary Howe serves as the chairperson of the board of the Mass Tech Collaborative, and there isn't anything that we do that isn't fully aligned with what that administration looks forward to having done. This award is a part of a program that we manage at the Mass Tech Collaborative called Strong Entrepreneurs. And I'm grateful for Megan Marszalek for the work that she has done to stand this program up. I think folks had a sense to see and witness a bit of her capabilities last night when she was here facilitating the discussion. Our hope, Jeffrey, is that the MFN will help founders throughout the Commonwealth to succeed more quickly, more efficiently, advancing the state's innovation economy, creating jobs, and ensuring our continued competitiveness. Not only does MFN project build on Lever's strength as a startup organization helping startup entrepreneurs, but it also helps Massachusetts startups to access startup accelerator resources from our rich network of entrepreneur support organizations, many of whom are here today and were here yesterday, and many that we've gotten to know so closely over the years in our work at the Mass Tech Collaborative. I can tell you, I've often said that it is the deep strengths that exist within our ecosystem support organizations that has really been the secret sauce for our innovation economy and our competitiveness in Massachusetts. And I think the Secretary very eloquently described that in her remarks. So let me just wrap up by thanking our ESO leaders, for thanking Lever, and to thank Secretary Howe for making this all possible today. Thank you.
Next, next we're going to hear from our State Senator, Paul Mark.
Thank you. Congratulations, first of all. This is a great event and a great kickoff. What an exciting concept, and what a great example of what I think the Berkshires are known for, collaboration and partnership. And we're talking about government and working together across quasi-government, executive branch, legislature. Boy, what a contrast to Washington, huh? And I think that's a thing that's really a strength here in Massachusetts, and probably nowhere more than in the Berkshires, that we do work together. We know there are limited resources, and so we make sure that we use those resources effectively, and we put them where they're going to have the greatest impact. And I think this is a great example of funding from the state and from our partners in state and local government that is going to have an impact and is going to create opportunity, open the doors of opportunity to success for so many people here in the Berkshires. Throughout my time in the legislature, and even when I worked at the phone company before, you would run across people with good ideas, but maybe not the know-how or the capital to just get those ideas up and running. And so having an opportunity like this here in North Adams, here in Northern Berkshires, I think is going to lead to more people taking that risk, trying to make their idea heard, and hopefully finding the support that they need. And at the same time, what place could be better than North Adams and Northern Berkshires? We are right next to Williams, we're right next to MCLA, we're not that far from UMass and other colleges in the region. And while on one hand, I'm not looking forward to driving to Boston after this, we're actually not that far from Boston, not that far from New York City, not that far from Albany, not that far from Montreal even. This is a great place to start a business and then watch it grow, because there are millions, tens of millions of customers right around here. So please, if you're watching from out of the Berkshires, consider coming here, consider investing in the Berkshires, and to everyone doing this work here, including the Secretary, Representative Barrett, Pat, and everyone else, thank you for this, and I look forward to helping it and watching it grow. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Mark. Next, we're going to hear from our State Representative, John Barrett.
You know, I'm sitting here, and it's like a time warp or whatever. And back to almost 40 years ago in 1984, when my first month in office, I got the announcement that the president of Sprague Electric wanted to come over to my office to see me. I think it was January 26th to be exact. And he came over and he said, listen, we're pulling our corporate headquarters out of the city of North Adams. But don't worry, he says, it's just a psychological event. And, but the jobs are it's only going to amount to 12 people. Within the next 12 months, they announced that they'd be eventually moving 1,200 jobs out of the city and permanently out of here in 1992. Now, we didn't even have touch-tone phones until 1990 here. We didn't have a lot to offer people. We had a terrible transportation system coming in here. and we had to turn to a lot of people to give us credibility. And the biggest, and I can remember calling Frank Oakley at Williams, who was president at the time, and I said, you know, Mr. President, I said, you send people, your kids all over the world to help solve the problems of third world countries. Do you think you can send some 5 miles down the road and help a desperate area and get us going? And I only say this because there's a strong Williams connection here today, which gave us credibility when we moved ahead with Mass MoCA and made it something. Can you imagine when a guy walks into my office and says, I'm going to save your economy and region, and I'm going to build a museum of contemporary art? I didn't even know what the hell contemporary art was. And, but you know what? It was the only game in town. And what we had was something they didn't have anyplace else, which was 28 buildings all connected together, and they were going to be empty. And from that came the museum and all the things that we see are happening today. This is tremendous. Now, is it tomato or tomato? That's like saying, is it lever or is it lever? We all answer to the same call or whatever it may be, but it's so important. And involved in that, and Jack Wadsworth that's sitting back there, who I think I've had more fights with than any press around over the years. But you know, we got it done. Thank God for his wife, Susie. And, but it was a really, and that's where this foundation was built for what is happening today. It happened because of the involvement of so many people that took an interest and wanted to do something. Not people that just wanted to say, oh, it's the right thing to do. We've got to help this downtrodden area, this downtrodden city. They did it because they saw success here. And when I see this magnificent complex here and what has happened and what they've been able to grow from and continue to grow. And I said to Jack earlier, I says, you're like a fine wine, you're getting better with age. We got a long way to go yet before we get a few more things done. Before we depart this earth. A few would like us to move a little quicker, but to get out of the way, but we ain't ready to go yet, brother. But with that being said, this is a great day for a lot of reasons, and I can't get into all the technologies of it and and what it's going to mean. But I do mean eventually know that it's going to mean additional jobs. It's going to mean a better economy throughout the state of Massachusetts. And the foundation was established here through Lever and what they were able to do. Now this is the opportunity and announcement that the foundation is there, and now we're going to build upon that foundation. And Secretary Howe and all the work that you've done. Pat, that was a great thing that you said about the secretary. I'm sure you're up for review of your salary and you're going to get it. But it was the truth. And he's been around a long time. We started back 40 years ago in Silvio Conti, and he worked for Silvio Conti. But I can say without reservation, I don't like gimmicks. I never have, and this is not a gimmick. This is real. It's got the possibility to create jobs throughout this state and in this area, and most importantly, to this area that I care so much about and spent my entire life here. So. And thank you to the legislature. Senator Mark knows that we fund these programs, we believe in these programs, and you know, we're like a foreign country out here when we go to look for money. And now it just feels as though that we have a lot of people working for us. I've taken too much time because I've now got to go down Route 2 and hit the Concord Circle and get into Boston for what I don't know, but we're going to be there voting. And congratulations, congratulations, and congratulations to all the people that have been involved in this project to make it happen and bring us to this day. Because if you knew what I was like, I'll just give you one last thing. As the editorial and the transcript read, I think in the this was in late 1984, said, we can't blame Barrett if he just closes the drapes at City Hall and shuts the lights out and leaves. That's how bad it was when your local newspaper was saying about the dire condition of this area. Or I can say when the developer from Williamstown said the best thing that can happen to North Adams is that they flood it so that you can make lakefront property available for those who live in Williamstown. Or the famous quote from Yankee Magazine, which said, "We were a sorry gateway to anywhere." 5 years later, we were recognized as one of the 5 hidden jewels. So we have resilience. We will be there, and congratulations on this effort, and I look forward to supporting it as much as we can. Thank you.
And our final remarks will be by the mayor of North Adams, Jennifer Maxey.
Good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to be here in the studio, and I would want to thank the Wadsworth family for this great investment here in North Adams on this beautiful facility. As you know, North Adams is the biggest little city of the state, and we have many great things happening here, including why we're here today, the contribution of the state's innovation ecosystem. I'm delighted that North Adams has been the home of Lever since 2014. North Adams has a long history of innovation, leading back to the 19th century. Lever's work will help to ensure that innovation continues here in North Adams and throughout the Commonwealth. I'm so excited about the network and how it will open the state's innovation economy by strengthening not only the network, but creating virtual mobility throughout. I'm particularly excited about how this project will showcase North Adams and Berkshire County. We are small, but we are mighty, and this is one example how we can do so much. Thank you all for all your contributions, and I look forward to working with all of you.
All right, so that concludes the remarks that we prepared remarks that we want to share with you. We're happy to answer some questions. We're delighted to have several members of the press in the room with us and more joining us for a live stream. And I'd like to ask all of you to join me up here and help me answer these questions. I appreciate any help I can get. Sten Spinella from the Berkshire Eagle. Thank you. Ish. Megan Marsalek and with Pat Larkin and their teammates at MassTech Collaborative wrote a request for proposals, an RFP, to help build a strong ecosystem for entrepreneurs in the state. We responded to that with a proposal, and we were very fortunate to be funded through that. So it's their request and our idea.
Gotcha. And do you think this will help startups in the Berkshires in particular, as opposed to if this MFN was run by a company in Boston?
We do. So first of all, we always, full disclosure, put our finger on the scale for companies in Berkshire County and Western Mass. But one of the things we've learned is that there are great resources for startups throughout the Commonwealth, and those can support startups whether they're located in Berkshire County or in the Pioneer Valley, and particularly now when remote collaboration is so common. So we think that it's going to benefit our startup community in many ways. And we do think that we are at an advantage in producing the MFN relative to folks who are in the eastern part of the state. Yes?
I think you already touched on it a little bit, but can you talk a little bit about how the Funders Network sort of fits into Lever's mission and goals?
Absolutely. Our mission and goals have always been about empowering innovators to leverage markets to solve problems. And we've always operated in a way that is inclusive as possible, simply for the practical reason that entrepreneurs are everywhere. You never know where the next great idea is going to come from. So that's been our history, and we see the Massachusetts Founders Network as a direct extension of that work.
Could you expand a little bit on the equity aspect of the program?
Yes. So first of all, I'm really pleased to say that Lever has a strong track record of supporting women founders, founders of color, founders from underrepresented, underserved, and underestimated groups. We've been doing that for a long time, and we're really proud of that. And I have to say, it's really strengthened our work by embracing all that diversity. And again, the MFN will be an extension of that. And I know that I speak for everyone who is here. We have leaders from all the top accelerators and incubators in the state, and I know 100% they're in agreement and alignment on this. We're all working in different ways to be more inclusive and to embrace that diversity. But I would say this is self-interest for our organizations and for the benefit of the Commonwealth to do so. I'm going to leave my answer at that. I'm going to just check, are there any questions from our live stream?
I have one for you. Who are some of the advisors that you worked with while putting together MFN?
Oh, thank you for that. Yes, at the strong encouragement / requirement of Megan Martzalek at Vastech Collaborative, we assembled an outstanding team of advisors. It included entrepreneurs, it included investors, and it included leaders from various entrepreneur support organizations. Among them are John Harthorne, who was the founder of Mass Challenge. He's here with us today. We've been advised by Brandell Randolph. He's the founder of 1854 Cycling Company and very much a thought leader on inclusion. And then, of course, I have to acknowledge the Lever board. We have an outstanding board of directors, and the Founders Network has been a board-level conversation for us for 2 years. There's a great degree of intentionality in this. There has been a great amount of back and forth and idea sharing and tuning, and we're going to continue that. I want to just land by saying we continue to seek advice. This is a lean startup for us. Build, measure, and learn. Put stuff out there, see what works, see what sticks, see what doesn't, and go from there. Other questions from the press? All right, Gabby?
For all of us who want to help fuel this, what's a timeline where we might see either beta or start to test?
All right, so this is the end of the beta phase, and it is open. This is the date that it's now available to anyone who wants to sign up. In fact, we migrated the site to a higher powered web server system. I'm not using the right vocabulary because anticipating hopefully a large influx of new members right now. And that's our ask for everybody here. Help us get word out, particularly to startup founders, entrepreneurs who are building companies with a high potential to scale quickly and create jobs and raise investment capital to do so. Anything else, Francesca?
I have a question for Pat Larkin.
Question for Pat Larkin.
Pat Larkin, hi, it's me, Francesca. Emailing you. How does MFN fit into MassTech's priorities?
Oh, my goodness. Well, the Mass Tech Collaborative is focused on supporting growth in our tech and innovation economy. there's nothing more instrumental to growth in our tech and innovation economy than the success of our entrepreneurs. So that's why we're supporting the MFN.
All right, the secretary needs to get on the road to get back to Boston, so we're going to do our ribbon cutting. We'd like everyone to come up and stand up here with us. And we have these scissors for Secretary Howe. She was disappointed that they're not bigger. I told her we'll try to do better next time.
That's amazing.
And we're going to get a photo here, so everybody come around.
How do you get scissors like this?
Amazon.
Amazing. Jack, come on up here. Jack needs to be in the middle here.
Jack, right here. Come on.
Yes, come on.
Where you belong.
Exactly.
Leather jacket.
The chief instigator.
And Chief Instigating Officer. Remember, down right here.
Here. Okay.
Eric, let us know when you're ready.
All right. 1, 2, 3. All right.
That's better than work.
I know. Look at that.
We tested it. Good job.
So excited.
Yeah, great to have them.